true, and it is true. We talk about the cancellation policy, and then we talk about session frequency. So that's where it comes in with your guy. So I don't think it works anything more than a month. And I think the ideal frequency is 2 to 3 weeks. And I use the gym analogy. Imagine if you did tricep dips once a month, what it would be like the following day.
Yeah.
That's how it will be for you.
Exactly.
That's a good analogy.
And then the last piece, which is obviously very personal to you, is I talk a little bit about my style. So that's
This
the
is
third piece.
The third section.
Yeah, this is the third section. So if you think about the first one is the nature of the relationship, the second one is all of the practicalities, and the third one is where I talk about my style. And then you obviously personalise that, but it's good to give people some sense of how you work. And obviously I've been doing this for a long time, so I kind of know how I work. And I talk about various things, I talk about, my whole premise is around, in my own practice, is all around kind of bold and provocative and, strong and all of that kind of thing. But you must find the words that describe you, yeah? I say that I use personal disclosure quite a bit, which I do. I think it's really helpful. Obviously, not if it's in service of yourself, but if it's in service of the client, it can be really helpful. And what the analogy I give people is, look, when a comedian is preparing to go on tour, like someone like Joe Brown, for example, they'll go and they'll do warm-up gigs, or Ruby Wax. They'll do warm-up gigs and they'll tell lots and lots of jokes. And I don't know if you've ever been to one of those, and most people either have or they haven't. If they have, it's quite helpful. And they say, how many of those jokes are really funny? They say, well, actually, most of them not that funny, really. That's just like a few really cracking ones. And those are the ones they pick to go into the tour. And I said, it will be a bit like that with me to start with. I'm going to be giving out lots of information. Some of it's going to land right on the nose. Some of it's going to be way off. And so I need your feedback. I'm going to be totally reliant on your feedback. So as I get to know you, I'm going to need your feedback on which bits of what I'm saying are really on the nose and which bits are wrong. So I love it when people say to me, no, Amy, that's absolute rubbish. It's not like that. It's like this. So I tell people that.
That's good.
Yeah. So but you must work out your own way of doing what you're like. But I guess the feedback, you need to include in there the feedback piece. You need to make people know that you are open, not just that you're open to feedback, you are completely reliant on feedback. Otherwise you will get it wrong.
You would ask questions like, how can I coach you better?
Yeah.
What can I stop doing? What can I start doing?
Or did I understand that right? Have I got my head around this? That kind of thing. What bit of this am I not seeing clearly? Well, I haven't told you about my mother and the relationship. Okay, so tell me about that. So by kind of taking what I would it's almost like humility as a coach.
Yes,
really.
yeah.
It's like a humble position. It's just saying, look, I'm not an expert. You're an expert in your life. Why don't you educate me about what it's like to be you, to be Gary Bell? I don't know. I mean, I've been around you, but I don't know what it's really like. And so that feedback piece is quite important. Another analogy that works quite well is, if you think about a ship that's on a destination to an island or something, no ship on its way to an island just goes straight, does it? Because that's not how ships are. They're constantly adjusting their course depending on rocks and wind and sea conditions, but they rely on their GPS to tell them the minor adjustments that they need to make. And so in a way you're asking for the client to be your GPS.
Yeah. I use that one to kind of highlight the significance of having a goal.
Yeah. Well, that's right. That's like being without an island.
Yeah.
So
the ship's going to bump into all sorts and could end up anywhere.
Well, exactly. And if you've got no GPS, so you need two things. You need to know where you're going, and you need your course to be continually adjusted.
And I also use it to help people when they do fall off track.
Yeah.
When they do make an error or a mistake, it's like, that's okay. It's a part of the journey.
Exactly.
All you need to do is just bring yourself back.
Bring yourself back.
Bring
It's
yourself
exactly
back.
what you would do if you were doing.
As long as you don't just let them keep going off course.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you do nothing, you're going to keep going off course.
You see, your man doesn't know where his island is.
No.
Quite.
And that's going to make it, even if you were a brilliant sailor, it's going to make it very, very hard. Because you're going to go like this. Every session, you're just going to go, well, you're going to just be taken as the wind blows you. It's really easy to do that as well.
It is.
That is, if I'm honest with you, that is the normal way that human conversation unfolds if you don't put any boundaries or rules around it.
You just end up, God, how do we end up talking
Yeah,
about this?
isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of a time when I,
Exactly.
all that kind of stuff. Lovely,
Yeah.
but not what you're trying to
Not
do.
necessarily
with
useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
You don't think he's got ADHD, do you?
You might do.
I'm not a psychiatrist, but maybe I'll
Maybe you
send them
don't.
across to you.
Ask him about focus and concentration and whether he was a daydreamer at school
Yeah.
and whether he was a bit of a class clown.
Yeah.
Just a few questions like that to give you an inkling.
That kind of rings a bell.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll get a much more of a sense of it, Richard, when you ask him about those missed sessions and your curious position on that. And I'm just really curious about
He's
that.
got the sort of disorganised chaos that you often see with.
And you get a lot of impulse control, gambling,
Yeah,
drugs.
exactly.
Yeah. Sort of impulse dysregulation, isn't it?
That would be consistent with ADHD.
Yeah. Well, comorbid at least.
Yes. I saw a boy the other day, terrible ADHD, mother refused to have him assessed at school, and he's now 22, struggling to hold down a job in recruitment. And he said, my concentration is so bad, he said, I even have trouble peeing. And I've never had anyone say that before. So I treated him with Concerta, and he came back. He said, it's unbelievable. And I said, and how's the peeing? And he sort of looked at me like that. I said, what are you asking me about that? He'd forgotten that he'd said that because he was so agitated. He said, actually, it's much easier.
Oh, bless him. Oh, sweet.
It's such a satisfying condition
Yeah,
to
it
treat.
is satisfying, yeah. Yeah. So does that give you some idea of, and I mean, it seems like a hell of a lot, but
That's brilliant.
I just don't.
Now you're quite rehearsed
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
Well, you've done it enough times.
Yeah. Have a checklist in front of you, it's
a
fine. I still do.
Have a checklist in
Yeah.
front of you.
I still do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
I
not?
still have that personality.
You see, I'm conditioned from our course not to have anything even
Oh, it's
in the
fine.
room with me
No.
to take notes.
I found that
Are you still taking notes?
Yeah, I found that fundamentally difficult because of my training.
Well, you're a
as
psychiatrist, so you're yeah.
And as I get older, your memory isn't as good as what it used to be. You're better at writing things down.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it. I've done loads
Yeah,
of it. I've worked with
I
loads
think
of
we
coaches
all
that make
overthought
notes.
it.
Yeah.
Do you have a checklist like that you could send us that summarises what we
I
do?
will do, because I'm just about to start giving it to clients, and
right.
so they've got it. Because then you see, when they start messing about, I'm kind of like,
Yeah,
we agreed this.
yeah. Brilliant.
But you have to make it your own. I mean,
You do,
this is-
yeah.
this
You
is-
find your own way.
everything.
I've almost quite enjoyed just being very present and just not relying on a notebook or ever picking up a pen.
Well, this might be the only bit that you do.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting you have.
I would then after the session always have that sort of 10 minutes and just frantically write everything down.
Well, that's fine.
So
but
you've got a lot
just
to
for
do.
this, there's a hell of a lot to remember. I can't remember it all, and I've been doing it for years.
Well, if I'm going to start recording it, it's all captured anyway.
No, but in the moment, you want to sound slick. And you
Because there are
want to
sometimes where, as they're talking, I just want to come back to that and being able to just write a bit down allows.
Oh,
you
I
to-
do that too. So I record and I make notes.
Yeah.
But not notes that I would use then in my own notes, just scribbles really.
Yeah,
Because if people give you a whole monologue, you've got to remember what they said at the beginning.
for sure.
I just can't remember it.
Yeah.
Maybe medication or something. I can't hold it all in my head.
Yeah.
So I do that. But there's no harm in having your checklist.
I
at
don't
all.
think people mind you.
Honestly, it really. You can even say to them, "This is so important. I don't want to forget. There are some really important things I have to tell you."
Yeah, that's the sort of subliminal message you're giving, even if you don't say it.
Yeah.
you know.
Just for me as well, I'm conscious you write on an A4 sheet of paper. I can't remember how you take your notes. I put all of my notes I done in a notebook, all dated and so across businesses and everything else. Is there any, from a coaching perspective, anything